we're here to talk today about a film that's actually coming out this week, Redemption Day.
Yes.
You star as Kate Paxton.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about your character?
Sure. Kind of what drew me to Kate was that a lot of the time when you see these types of stories where it's the wife of a Marine or of Army veteran, they're usually there to just support that character. And I liked that she had her own storyline, that she was very self-sufficient and strong and had this very strong, capable husband, but that it wasn't that she needed to be, in quotations, rescued. She does need support for sure. She got herself into a pretty tough situation, but I think the beauty of the relationship between her and Brad is something that they're both incredibly capable human beings. And yeah, I really enjoyed kind of playing her capabilities, and obviously shooting in Morocco wasn't too terrible either.
Yeah, I think you said it the best because yeah, there's parts where you needed support, but there's a lot of parts of the film where you also support him in
Yeah.
very specific ways. As a matter of fact, I after watching the film, I thought maybe you deserved a little bit more space on that first poster that
Right.
nothing to say bad about Gary Dourdan's performance, but you have a major role here
Yeah.
in the film. So that's kind of what I wanted to do, is kind of break your character down, because it
Mhm.
was very interesting. First of all, is the way you play the spouse of somebody with PTSD.
Yeah.
Is there any special prep for that? How did you go about that?
Yeah, of course. I think, well, I'm currently shooting a television show called Coroner, and my character on the show suffers from mental illness. And so she has panic attacks and anxiety. And a lot of the times, PTSD can show up in those forms as well. So playing a character with the inner workings of anxiety and being distressed in multiple situations and not knowing how to express herself was really wonderful for me to be able to find that commonality with Brad's character. I did a lot of research, just reading articles and watching interviews with people that suffered from PTSD. I also looked at some articles from the spouses of people, knowing when to push, when to give back, how to know that they themselves need treatment, because it can be a very difficult thing to love someone so much and watch them retreat. Like when you have that type of trauma, medically your brain can actually just go completely, it can just shut off, so there isn't anything there to relate with. And if you take that personally, their inability to be able to function in a situation, whatever that situation might be, whether we think it should be easy or hard for them to be able to do so, if you take that personally, it can be strain the relationship. And so I think there was a piece here of understanding who I married, what I married into, what my husband was going through, trying to understand that a marriage is very personal, but the PTSD within the relationship wasn't. And I think my role and my job was, when I saw this character, was to bring an individual into the movie, rather than a support character. And you always want to support the lead. You want to make sure that you're there really supporting that a plot. But it was really important for me, and kind of what I do as an actress is I try to carve out those little spots where I can really land a scene or ask if I can change something, or if I'm like, hey, how'd you feel about this? Like, I'm very creative. And so it's nice when I can collaborate with other actors and directors and kind of see how I can carve out these interesting spaces for my characters.
Because I really like the way that you were always there for him, but it never felt like you were like being overbearing or coddling. You were giving him his, like, kind of, I guess, like, respect and space,
Yeah.
and but at the same time that support.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
That's the thing about not making it personal, because a lot of the times the trap is that you make it about you.
Mm,
Like, I'm sad, like, tell me, like, I don't know, or I don't understand. Like, you make it about me, and it's not about me, it's about them. And so it's about Brad, and it's about giving him his space and respect, about saying, look, you're cracked, but you're not broken.
Right.
And that's the character that I play right now in Coroner. That's her number one mantra is she's cracked, but she's not broken. And I think we all have that. Like, I'll have days where I've had the worst day ever, or something, traumatic has happened and I'm sobbing and somebody calls me and I'm like, hi, this is Serinda. And I'm like, you just shut that shit down. Like, you're right, you're present. And so I think it was really important to honor Brad's capabilities. Otherwise, you can't have somebody that like you're coddling one moment and then is saving your life the next. I'm like, it doesn't, it doesn't work completely. So I'm glad that came through. That's great.
Now let's flip it, because you also unfortunately get taken hostage, and
That
this is the plot of the film.
yes.
What I found interesting, and you did mention it actually in the beginning when you're talking about Kate, is you're not a damsel in distress.
No.
You seem to be very aware of the situation and not overreact, as we've seen many times in the past in other characters.
Okay.
So how did you find that balance to play to find Kate's, how would she react in this situation?
Well, I think that was sort of my discussion at the beginning with the director about how I wanted to play this character. And if that's how he saw it as well, then great, let's work together. But if it was sort of that old school damsel, it doesn't actually serve the hero or the damsel. It just kind of makes them both these caricatures. And I think what's interesting is that strength, and in strength there can be weakness. And so for her, she's a very capable woman, and then you put a capable woman in a very complicated situation, and you have to see those capabilities applied. And she's not strong the entire time. She has moments where she breaks down crying and it's too overwhelming, there's too much going on. But that was, for me, was taking the script and finding a way to really keep this through line of, if Brad didn't show up, what would happen with Kate? Mm-hmm. And would she still get home? And I don't know, but I know that it's two people struggling to get back together. And, as opposed to one stagnant and one like slow motion running the entire movie to save the other. So I found that was something that I really worked on and talked to the director about developing within my character, and bringing those beats and those moments where you see her thinking on camera. And a lot of the time I find with writers or directors, everything is written, everything is verbal, and I'm a big non-verbal actor. So to find places about going, hey, can we cut these lines and can I do it non-verbally, where you see her thinking, or you see her processing, or you see her fear without oh my God, you just see it. And so it was nice to be able to build those moments and a little bit of space for kind of that grounding that I wanted Kate to have in the movie.
You mentioned Hitcham Hadjis, who was the director. Yeah. I had the pleasure of talking with him a couple of weeks ago. His vision for the film, which is this is not just a rescue film, but it has a bigger concept when it comes to the politics of big oil. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about what you thought about his vision?
Well, it's always nice when you work with somebody that has a vision other than just like kaboom and guns and like saving women. You're kind of like, okay. So it was really interesting to see that this is a passion project of his and something he's been working on for a long time. And I was really happy to be able to support that vision for him. And I like that it has a bigger picture story about the oil industry and the responsibility of, for the everyday person, but also when you look at the government as well, every government and their kind of entanglement in this industry. So yeah, I thought that was a really interesting kind of subplot or conversation to have. I always love films that kind of, I call it the blood diamond effect, whether it's as big as the blood diamond effect or small, where you can just kind of have a conversation later about it. But for me, it was like when, you go to see Blood Diamond because you're going to see Leonardo DiCaprio in a big splash movie, and you leave being like, shoot, where did I get my diamond from? You know what I mean? Yeah. And the next time you go and buy a diamond, suddenly you have a little like ding ding that goes off. And I like that educational factor. And I think it doesn't have to be as big as that. It doesn't have to be as, as informative as a documentary. It can be as simple as one line or maybe one through line that just starts to chip away at society's consciousness of what, what we consider to be convenient, because usually it's one of the more inconvenient things, and big oil is very convenient right now, and I'm feeling it's going to be very inconvenient. Yeah, I like somebody that has a vision, and I like somebody that can see beyond the entertainment industry.
Well, the message was clear enough that Hitchin was mentioning to me that the Algerian government was not very happy with your guys' film.
No, no, no. I've actually got some comments recently about participating in this film, and I was like, look, if we all want to do films that say nothing, we're never going to say anything. And I think we have to pick our battles, and we have to be cautious of where we put our time and our energy and our image. It's never meant to upset anybody. It's more so meant to just start conversations, in my eyes. That's what I like to do, is being like, look, if this upsets you, let's talk about it, because I'd love to hear your point of view on this. Not to fight you, but to understand you. So yeah, it's always interesting when it comes down to the aftermath of things.
Well, it's done so gracefully because there's balance between both of you as characters, and you guys just have to find yourself in this mix. And thanks to your job and his connections, you guys are able to go around it, which I found very, very appealing, because it wasn't, they're actually, my favorite line, which really raised an eyebrow, was when I think it's Andy Garcia's character. He goes, "This is an epic win for big oil," or what or his other guy. I was like, wait, hold on, what? This is a pregnant American over here, and you guys are gonna drag this out. So that's what really came across.
And I love those. I love that those are the little conversations that, or those little lines that just stick. And it's a commentary on reality in entertainment. And I think that's an interesting line to walk. We have to be careful with that, obviously, but I think it's something that, as an entertainer, it brings a level of validity to what I do personally. Like for me, it's like a nice, when I can tell a story that means something, or I feel like will resonate, or if I can bring awareness to a cause through a television show or a movie, I always think that's kind of a fun side effect of my job.
Well, to wrap this up, I want to ask you, what do you hope audience take away from your character in Redemption Day?
I hope that they can relate to her in a very unrelatable situation. Honestly, it seems like an odd thing to say, but I hope that they can relate to sort of this well-rounded human being, that she's not a superhero, and she's not, a villain, and she's not a damsel in distress. She's just a human that's in a very interesting situation, and trying her best with everything that's kind of thrown at her. So I hope there's a relatability there, and there's a humanness that comes across. I think that's the best thing that I can do for the characters that I play, is just to bring the human to this heightened situation that I get to go play in.
Thank you so much for spending some time
with
me.
You. Well, of course.
You're mid shooting, so I really appreciate the time.
I'm sorry for the last minute turnaround. It was like, I just happened to have this time, and I was like, I like literally had to cut the list in half, and I was like, I can do these 3 and only these 3. And I'm so sorry, everyone else. So I apologize for the last minute and all of that stuff.
I really appreciate it. And I hope, everybody else does, by checking it out in select theaters January 8th, and then on demand on January 12th.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Enjoy the rest of your, what is it today? Wednesday?
It's Wednesday. Nobody knows what, I don't even know what date it is. It's Wednesday. And go get your coffee.
Yes, I will.
Okay. Bye.